Hello everybody and welcome back for a Saturday night coding session. And today, as almost always during my last streams, I guess I'll continue to work on my RinkMe application, which is actually also already live, but there are still a lot of things that I would like to add to them or to this application. So it's a very basic URL shortener right now. If you want to shorten a URL, you just go here, paste it, click on link it, and then you receive a short URL version. And of course, afterwards you can just navigate to it, and it will redirect you to the initial URL. So it's actually very much or very similar to what we have on bit.ly. But it doesn't have that many features till now. But my plan is to really build, I would say, a fairly nice product around this concept, and we'll see how this will evolve during the streams. Now, what I did last time out, I created an Azure function, and I have already deployed it to Azure. I guess we can look into it. Let's go to Azure. And the idea of this Azure function is that, let me just first log in. The idea is that when requests come for a shortened URL, requests might come from bots, or they might come from users that have actually clicked on this short URL. And fortunately, looking at the user agent, it should be possible in most cases, so it's not 100%, but in most cases, it should be possible to identify which request is coming from a bot and which not. And the idea is that, of course, a lot of requests are coming from bots. For instance, if I take this link and if I would paste it, I don't know, on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or virtually on any social media channel, then that social media channel would try to fetch a preview and things like that. And those requests might come as a bot. So the idea is that the database gets cluttered with a lot of requests that actually come from bots. And this is something which, well, for now, as we have very, very few requests on this application, this is not a very big problem. But when this application, maybe gets a little bit more traction, the database will get cluttered with a lot of requests that actually come from bots. So this is why last time I worked on a very, very basic Azure function that works on a timer trigger, and it triggers every day at 1:15 a.m. so during the night, and this will be in UTC time, since functions usually work on UTC time zone unless you configure it differently. And what I do actually here is, it's nothing very complicated. I just use the DB context that I already have in this solution. And first of all, I just want to see how many requests we have that are coming from bots. Then I want to see the total number of requests that we currently have. Of course, this might change in the future. It's just some stuff that I wanted to do, like, for instance, to, kind of calculate a percentage on how many of the requests were actually coming from bots. But this calculation is for now not really accurate. However, what the main focus of this function is actually that what we want to do is we just simply want to remove all the requests that are coming from bots, and then of course save the changes. So this means that every night at 1:15 a.m. I would do a basic database cleanup, and all the requests that are coming from bots will be deleted. And this runs in this Azure function that is already deployed. So next time that it should run, it would be probably around, I don't know, 3:15, I guess, in my time zone, because it's 1:15 a.m. in UTC. So yeah, 2 weeks ago, I asked you about learning programming. You said that object-oriented programming is Java object-oriented programming. Yes, Java is 100% object-oriented programming language, just like C#. In fact, they are even very, very similar. And developers that know C# if they look on Java code, they fully understand it, and vice versa is also the case. So they are very, very similar to each other. And it's not the question why people don't like Java. There are people that certainly like it. I guess it's fairly difficult to have here a long discussion about why certain people might not like Java. The whole concept is that right now, from my point of view, the .NET ecosystem is far richer than the Java one. You can write apps using the exact same programming language. You can write apps that actually run virtually on any type of platform or device. So you can write apps for the web, for Xbox, you can write for Windows, you can write for whatever actually you would like to. And Java also made some versions of the I don't know, their framework that it's paid, and this is a reason, for instance, because at the beginning most of the Android apps actually that were developed in Java, but since there was some problem with licensing and things like that, and then basically Google developed their own programming language for their operating system. And yeah, there are few more reasons why maybe Java is, at least today, not that popular. But if you want to learn Java, go for it. So it's no problem. But yeah, my suggestion would still be to learn .NET, because as I said, if you learn C# and in the .NET ecosystem, you can write applications running on virtually everything: mobile phones, TVs, Xbox, web servers, regular PCs, tablets, whatever. You can write really applications for any platform, any operating system, and so on. For instance, this application, at least the server part of this application, can run both on Linux and on Windows. So you can just deploy it where you want. Can you repeat name? What name? So the language is C#. So this is the name of the programming language, and the .NET ecosystem is actually everything that is built around C#, and that really allows you to write programs running on virtually each type of device and platform, no matter what the operating system is. So once again, C# is the programming language, and .NET is kind of the entire ecosystem that was built around it. Okay, so that's coming back to this Azure function. So this is what we did actually last time. So right now, the current state of this application is that we have this function that is running on Azure, so in the cloud, serverless, and each night at 1:15 UTC, it does a database cleanup and it clears all the requests that are coming from bots. So let's see what we want to do today. And for this, we have our GitHub repository for this URL shortener, which is called ring.me. So both the application and the repository, of course, have the same name in this case. And if I go to issues, as said in a previous stream, whenever I come up with a new idea on things that need to be done for this application, I just go on and write an issue. And the reason why I do this is because I tend to forget things. And I'm usually very busy during the day, and some ideas might come, but if I don't write them down, they might as well go away. So when I have an idea, I just go here and write an issue for that, either that I'm doing this from my PC or I'm doing this for my mobile phone if I'm on my way. But I like to write these issues so that I know what I want to work on. And we have here some nice things to do. But I guess one of the things that should be fairly easy, and I guess that's a good first start for today, would be this implement the preloader until the app loads. And the idea of this issue is that if I refresh it right now, you see that it goes on 0, it comes back to 37, then the background doesn't load correctly, and so on. So I would like to implement a preloader that would be actually triggered, so that would actually be displayed until all the parts of these components are fully rendered, and then we will display the application, so that when it is displayed, it will display directly all the stuff that needs to be displayed here, like the total number of shortened URLs, which is 37 for now, and how many links were clicked within the last 24 hours. And in this case, we have 21 links that were clicked during the last day. So yeah, let's start with this issue. So implement preloader. Let's open it. I will assign to me so that everything is clear. And yeah, let's start working on that. Let's see how we're doing, everybody. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Good, so right now we should implement this preloader part. This is of course on the front end part, and once again we're running this application on Blazor, and Blazor is a single page application framework in .NET, and it has actually two hosting models. So we can fully run Blazor as a single page application that would be called Blazor WebAssembly, because it uses WebAssembly to actually translate, I would say, DLLs, so C# to things that the browser can understand. And the other hosting model is the server hosting model, where everything is hosted on the server, and we build actually a SignalR connection, so a WebSockets connection between the browser and the server. And whenever something happens on the UI, actually it gets communicated through that WebSockets connection, and the server then calculates the new HTML that needs to be sent to the front end, to the browser, and then the differential HTML is sent to the browser and of course rendered and displayed there. And we have implemented the server-side hosting model, so where everything gets rendered by the browser, or rendered on the server and sent to the browser via this SignalR connection. And the reason why we did that is that if we wanted to go for Blazor WebAssembly, so that would be the full single page version of Blazor, similar to Angular and React and Vue and things like that, it would have meant that we would needed to build an API layer for the application for the front end to talk to. And instead of building a new layer for Blazor, I just said, okay, we can just simply reuse all the components that we have, like the data context, like the domain models and things like that. So we don't need to implement a separate API layer for this. So this is the main reason why I went for the server hosting model. And let's take a look what we have. So here in this index.razor, Visual Studio kind of sometimes complains that pages are not loaded correctly, but let me close here a few things. There are a lot of pages open, and let's try to open this again. It still says there's an error, but I can assure there's no error, because if we just run the application, you'll see that everything is fine. Sometimes, well, it runs on the other screen. Sometimes, unfortunately, I don't know why Visual Studio doesn't play very nice with custom Blazor components, and it doesn't recognize the text. But as you can see, it's here. And one other thing is that we use the same database connection. So both when I am running this application locally, so on localhost when I'm debugging, and the application that runs on Azure, so if we go here at RankMe, they share the same database. That's why we actually display exactly the same values for these counters. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly why it does this, but yeah, let's not concentrate on this. So this is actually the home page, and if I'm not mistaken, we have here this main layout. And in the main layout, we have this preloader. Sorry. So what I want to do is I will take that, and this one is actually the component that we have on the home page, and here is actually the component where we would like to add the preloader, I would say. And in order to use the preloader, we would need kind of create a new property. Public, it would be of type bool. I will call it is loaded, so if the component is loaded. And by default, this component should be, I guess, false. So this would be the default. And then we have this lifecycle method, this on initialized async. And here basically we do all the calls to the database, so everything that we need. And what we can do, I guess, here is after everything loads, we can just simply go ahead and set is loaded equals true. Okay, and then if we go to the markup part, we can implement something like that, I guess. If is loaded, that's the property that we have. So if this is true, then we want to display this. Else we want to display the preloader. Okay, and let's of course uncomment the preloader. On the preloader, I'm using an HTML template that I actually purchased from the internet for this, and it has some dependencies on some JavaScript from the template, and we will also have to make sure that that we go to that JavaScript and also kind of make sure that the JavaScript function doesn't get executed. And here in this if, then we actually display what we need here. So that would be it. Also, somebody is raiding me. Thank you very much for the raid. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go then further to check exactly the preloader, what we have here. So we have this class which is overlayer on div class loader and loader inner. Okay, why do we have this is a scroll to top. I don't actually want a scroll to top button, or do I want it? I don't know. Let's see. Okay, let's go to the, because right now I guess if you run the application, I guess that the JavaScript behind will always keep the preloader running, or we'll see just in a second. It's opened on the other monitor, but we'll bring it right away. Okay, so it's actually not exactly what I would expect. Or is it? Let's open a new window for it. No, it's not exactly what I would like, because the problem is that the layout is loading very slowly. So this preloader thing doesn't really help a lot. So the problem why the behavior is not what I would expect right now is that the main layout, where is it? This main layout actually loads very slowly. Here I have a background color, container, header wrapper. What else do I have here? A header bar, but we don't have anything in the menu right now. And here we have the footer. So in the footer, what we can do here is, okay, we can also change that. I don't need that anymore. Okay, so let me check again what happens here in this one. So we have this header where we have this background color that we have set. We have this header wrapper and then this kind of thingy. But I guess that the problem is there, I don't know, in the CSS file. It should be somewhere, I don't know, here www root CSS animate, where is it? Yes, this main CSS, probably. Okay, background area. I'm not really good at CSS, and I'm not sure if I will spend a lot of time on this. Yes, if things are not working with this type of template, I will simply use another one, and that would be it. So yeah. I'm not exactly sure. Nice select site CSS. This is the CSS. Actually, that's the CSS that's coming from. Or I guess this is the CSS that's coming from the Blazor template. Okay. Maybe could there be some, I don't know. Could there be some things that get overwritten in? I guess this site CSS is something that we don't need anymore. So let's simply delete it from here. And just out of curiosity, let's run this application once more. It started again on the other browser, but on the other monitor, but we'll bring it here. Let's see. Now it's even worse. So now it's even worse. It takes a lot of time until this background is loaded. That's Does this stopwatch has an event that allows me to see? I don't want to do this thread.sleep. This is something that I wouldn't want to do, because it would put the entire front-end thread to sleep, and this is not something that I want to do. But does this stopwatch class expose an event so that you can, I don't know, that you can subscribe to, and that should call your method when it reaches a certain value? Here's the frequency per second, time operations. Okay, for int operation. Okay, instance either running or stopped. Use is running to determine the current state of the stopwatch. Use start to begin measuring elapsed time to stop. Okay. But I don't see anything about a certain event. It doesn't expose an event. Stopwatch initializer, the fields, it has properties and methods. Reset, restart. Okay. Let's try with, I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea. But let's see. Let's try with this dot sleep. But I'm very sure it's a very bad idea. I think it's using system threading, and this one we don't need anymore. I never ran a thread.sleep inside the onInitialized method of a Blazor component. So yeah, let's see what will happen. And let's sleep for a second. And then we should put this is loaded to true. Okay, and here in this code I can do an if. So the idea is that if is loaded is true, then we have to display everything. So let's just negate. So if not equals is loaded. In that case, we put this this preloader there, and we'll uncomment it. So let's uncomment it. And now we should have a preloader also on the main layout. And else we have all this stuff here. So in this case, we don't really need actually to specify. Or yeah, we did. We need to put everything here inside an else. So the entire markup that should be displayed would be part of this else. Okay. Let's see what's happening now. Hmm. Let's check our friend Google. CSS background image. Okay, so we can use this URL, which I did already. Two background images for the body element. So yeah, it seems that there's this is the only way that we can get that. At the top left corner, okay. Background color to be used if the image is unavailable. Okay. I have set a background color. So URL or linear gradient, things like that. That doesn't really help me. So yeah, it's actually URL based. So this is how. I'm thinking at another thing. So if we using this parent div that we have here, if we are in this div and we just add an image, and it would be let's have the source, and it should be actually this one. This should be the source for the image. How would this be displayed in this case? I'm just taking this out for now. Okay. And yeah, let's see how this works right now. Just to say again, I really hate the front end part, so the CSS thing, it's really a pain for me. Okay, now it doesn't display it at all. Now we just have these rotating things here with no color at all. Then when we load, it's actually this preloader, which is correct. So right now, but why is the image not displayed? Probably because of the different classes that you use here. Probably that's why. Banner shape JPG. Background shape. Okay. That's the section here. And if we let's delete this image element, and I don't know, I'm just trying things out, and let's I don't know, let's put the background image here directly on the section. Okay, now it's now it's even stranger. Now I get this preloader thing. I don't know exactly why, because I don't know. It's exactly the opposite. Okay, I have your banner section. Is enclosed. Okay, I guess I had this. Oh my god, I had this totally wrong. Sorry. But when it loads it for the entire section, it's actually better than when I load it here for this div. And I don't know why. That's very, very, very strange. So if I put it on this div, then I have this problem. Yeah, now it loads. It's exactly the same as previously, of course. It takes a long time until it loads. Okay, I think I'll do something else here. Let me go to the main layout. I simply won't use any picture. I just won't use any picture. I just want to see what the background color is for the header section, and it is this one. And I will put the same background color there. Let me go here. So it should be this div, style, background color. And yeah, let's put this color here. Okay. And let's see what happens now. Right now, I would expect that there is only one background color, so no real image. But I expect that to be really, really fast. Yeah, but it's still the same thing. So now I have only the background color, which for me is okay. So I'm really not too... I don't have a problem with that one. And I have the preloader until the data is loaded. And I'm happy with this behavior, I guess. Let me try again. Let me try to run it again. Let me bring it here. But still, once again, it's the same problem. Because it's... So, especially when you run it the first time, it's a little bit strange. Right now, it's okay, but... Because you wait until everything is loaded, and everything is fine. But when you run it for the first time, you see that it actually refreshes, and I'm not sure exactly why. Because it does actually a full refresh of this page. But right now, maybe what happens if we don't use this preloader? I think about, I don't know, maybe... I mean, the behavior is a little bit improved in comparison to what it was before. So from this point of view, yeah, I could be happy with that. But let's try to run it again. Let me bring it here. It actually does a refresh of the entire page. I guess that's because of the preloader, but the problem is if I take the preloader out, then there could be times where the database call takes a little bit longer than it takes right now. In that case, you would just here see first 0 and then it will change to the value that is correct when the data is loaded. So I guess I leave it as it is right now. It's better than what we had previously. It's of course still not the best that we could have, but let me close here some of the open files that I have. I have a lot, I guess. I played a lot around with different things during the last. Okay, let's close everything. And let's try to open this index.razor once again. It's still okay. Now it's okay. Good. So from my point of view, this issue is done. So let's go back here. Let's go to my GitHub. There should be this repository, issues. And what's the issue that is on me right now? It's this one. So the preloader is implemented. So let's close this issue. Okay. So what should we work on next? What do we have? Implement counter for registered users. This one actually depends on another issue, which is this one, where we actually need to add users to the domain model. So the whole idea of this application is that right now, everybody can go here and can shorten a URL. So that's easy and straightforward and no problems. But I want actually that if you want a more feature-rich experience, like for instance, I don't know, to be able to use your custom short URL tokens, then you should log in. And if you are a registered user, you will probably have access to a lot more nicer features, like, I don't know, getting a full insights about the analytics of your shortened URLs, how they, I don't know, how often they are used. We can even also bring in some gamification and maybe let the users know in comparison with others how they perform. Maybe we can also give badges and things like that. But for that thing, of course, we need some registered users. So this concept of user is right now not present in the application at all. So this is something that we would have to work on, I guess. And yeah, I'm very happy that this actually doesn't really has, at least for now, anything to do with the front end part. So what we will do right now is the following. I will take a very, very short break. I guess it would be 10 minutes at most. And then I will be back and we'll write some real C# code. We will extend our domain model with this concept of user. And of course, we would also need to implement a repository for that, or implement the user in the data context. For now, we don't have repositories, but I guess that this is already a point where we actually need or might need to think about using repositories. Because here we would have probably some more sophisticated actions or methods on users, like getting the short URLs only for certain users for a certain time period. I don't know, to get the requests to aggregate some results. So yeah, I guess we will think about that. So once again, we will just have a very, very short break. And after the break, we will come back and we will implement this new concept in our domain model, which is a user and correspondingly a user profile. So stay tuned because we'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm back here. Let's get started. So let's go to the GitHub page first, and yeah, that's actually the user that's actually the issue that I want to work right now. So I'll assign it to me, so that it is assigned. So let's start with this whole concept of user. Okay, so let's go here in the domain where we have our models, and let's add here a new class, and this class would be called user. So let's make it public. Okay, now for the identifier of the user, I usually like to use GUIDs or GUIDs, and not IDs, regular IDs, int. And there will be a point where we'll also see exactly why, I guess. So let's start this. So the first property that I would need here would be of type GUID, and it would be user ID. Okay. What other properties do we need? So I have here, so the way I think about designing this whole concept of adding users into our domain model is that I want to keep this application kind of extensible. And right now, yeah, we just want to add users that can sign up and log in to this application, and that would be it. But I guess that it could be, I'm not sure, but it could be that in future we might have different type of users. Maybe users that are individuals, or maybe users on behalf of a company. And that's why I would think of a scenario where we could have actually one user, but to that user we could associate a different type of user profiles. Like we would have a regular user profile, maybe we would have a company profile, and things like that. So that's why the way I see it is that I would like to have here only some very, very basic properties that would be actually the same or similar for each, or for any type of profiles that we might add in the future. So we would have here things that would mostly have to do with identity management and access control, or YAM. So that's why one of the property, it would be the username, string username. And yeah, we might need to add some validation on this type of properties, but I guess that would be the topic for a different issue. We would have a password. Of course, we would have to also make sure that the password is hashed, and we'll create a password hasher for that. Okay, now what else can we have here? An email address that would also be required public string email. Okay, if we want to implement something like multi-factor authentication, we will also need a phone number. Public. So should the format for this phone number be an int or a string? I'm thinking about this right now. So I mean, of course we can add some when we get a phone number. When the user needs to sign up and provide this type of information, then probably we will ask the phone number, and we would ask first to specify the country. So we add the country code by ourselves in some way, but then we would also specify the number itself. Maybe the phone number should be a class on itself, maybe something like a value type or a record in the newer C# versions, but I don't think I would like to do that right now. Let's Hmm. So yeah, let me know what do you think about this? Should this be string or should this be an integer or a long even? For now, you know what? Let's make it a string. No, because then we would have to validate it contains only numbers. Yeah. For now, let's make it long. Okay. I'm not sure. Is there anything else that we would need? At a certain point, we might want to add things like, I don't know, verifying the profile. So when you sign up, in most applications, you can just get an email and you should click on a link to verify that it's really you. I don't think we want to include this right now, but maybe we want to include this in the future, and to make sure we don't mess up the database maybe later. I try maybe to say here public bool is verified. Okay, something like that. And for now, I will by default set this property on true. So I will use for that the constructor, and I will say is verified equals true. And I guess that should be it for a user. So that's actually all the information that we need for a user in order to sign the user up and log the user in, and of course log the user out. So yeah, let's then go further. So the next thing would be we will have another class that would be a user profile. And the user profile public class. I mean, from a code perspective, so from a domain logic perspective, it should inherit user, because it should have all the information from that specific user. And yeah, that would make it easy, because we could use the user only for things like a login, a logout, things like that, and for all other type of stuff or information, we would simply have all the info already in the user profile. But the user profile should also belong to a certain user, or each user should have at least a user profile. So in that case, so for the user profile, we would have property int user profile ID. What other type of information we would have here? Public string first name. Then we'd have here public string last name. Okay, what other type of information do we need for the user? I guess we don't know for now, but we want to link it back to the user ID. So we'll also have here a public GUID. It would be user ID. I'm not exactly sure how EF core would. Okay, it already hides this member. The idea is that should we inherit user or or we should just create a relationship between the profile and the user? Because it would actually be convenient to inherit the user. But in that case, we would also inherit the ID of that user. And then I want to have separate, like really separate tables for users and for profiles. So in that case, I guess we won't inherit it. But what we'll say here is that we'll try to build a relationship. And we'll say here that besides this, we'll have a public, what we would have here, int user profile ID get set, and let's fully define this relationship. So on public user profile get set. Okay, and here on the user profile we'll have something like public int. It's not an int, it's a GUID, user ID, and public user. And this is how we would also get the user information when we load the user profile. So I guess that would be a good way to go. I'm not sure, I can't really be 100% sure. But what I want to do right now is to go to the data access layer and add this to the DB context. So first of all, I want to have two DB sets, separate DB sets. So it will be a DB set of user, and that would be users. And I would have a DB set of user profile, public DB set user profiles. And we'll call this profiles. And maybe let's call this user profiles to be more explicit for in the future. Okay. Now here I configured some relationships for the user agent class. And what I would like to do right now is to create a migration. And just take a look at on how Entity Framework Core would actually map this to the database. Add migration, add user profile. Yeah, I guess it should be correct because it's the correct assembly here. Okay. The child could not be determined on one-to-one relationship between user profile and user. Okay. So define the child dependent side of the relationship. Configure the foreign key property if these navigations should not be part of the same relationship. Configure them without specifying the inverse. Okay. Yeah. So the problem is here that kind of doesn't want to create this one-to-one relationship. Like the question is here, is the user that has a profile or is the profile that has user? So which one is the dependent entity in this case? That would be the question. Is the user the main entity and the user profile the dependent? Or is it vice versa? So is the user profile the main entity and is the user... Because there should be a clear relationship between user and profile, but it's not really That's actually a good question. It's rather a philosophical one. So which should be the main entity and which should be the child entity or the dependent? That's a good question. Okay, the child component side could not be determined for the one-to-one relationship between user profile user and user profile. Okay, because it kind of, we have this and we have this here, and this kind of creates a circular one-to-one relationship, so we cannot identify exactly which is the dependent. I guess it's the user profile that should depend on the user, because let's think this scenario. When you delete a user, then the associated user profile should also be deleted. But when you delete a profile, you should maybe also delete the user. That's kind of strange. I really could use your ideas right now. I'm a very, very bad product owner, as you can see. But I mean, we should simply go forward. We should simply pick something, and well, if it turns out it is not the correct choice, then we can maybe change this later. Of course, if we have some real users, then there will be the possibility of loss of data if we update the tables and relationships. But on the other side, well, we can maybe create a SQL script to back up the data and then reinsert it after we create the new tables or similar like that. So I guess we should be covered. So I think that in this case, we'll do it the following way. So we say that the user as a child, which is the user profile in this case. So if we go here to user, we can see that I guess we can configure it like here. Let's say our builder entity user owns one. So user owns user, but I don't need the user profile ID. So let's go back here. We have a user profile. Yeah, we have this user profile. Why doesn't it recognize it? Because this is of type user. Did I save the changes there? Yes, I saved them. So a user has this user profile, I guess. And then the user profile let's see, like, if it works like that. Let's see the fixes: generate property user profile. Did we name the property differently here? Yeah, because we named it profile. Let's make it clear. So that was the problem here. So right now this is okay, but I want to go to the user profile right now, because in the user profile I also want to get user information. So public user get set. Okay, so let's go back to the data context, and then I by default this would create actually the dependent entity in the same table. So I want a different table for that. To table, and the table for that one should be called user profiles. Let's try to add the migration right now. And see what it happens. So add migration, add user profile. Let's try again. Build succeeded. Okay, so let's review it. Okay, create table. It will create a table users, and it will have the column of the user ID, username, password, email, phone number, and is verified. But it should have also user profile ID, I guess, or? Then constraints, we have the primary key, and then we have this user profile. And here we have the user ID. Of course, we have the user profile ID. A first name and last name. This is what we have on the user profile for now. And we have this foreign key on the column of user ID. In the table users, and the principal column is the user ID and referential action cascade. Yeah, that's actually what I think that it's really what we need, because when we delete a user, we just want to delete also the corresponding user profile. So yeah, I don't know, that should be fine, I guess. Let's think this through again. So we have this table users, and it has a foreign key. The user profile says a foreign key to the user, and this means, I guess, that we can use this navigation property in code. Yeah, let's update the database. I guess that should be it. So update database. Update successful, and let's take a look here. That's not a database that we use, because I here on the Azure database that I have, it's called RinkMe, and tables. Let's just take a look in a few seconds. So tables. Okay, we have this user table. Let's see what columns do we have. We have the user ID, username, password, email address, phone number, and is verified. Okay, and keys, we have only the primary key here, of course. Look also at constraints. I guess it should be only a primary key constraint here, nothing more than that. Okay, the keys, yeah, it's the end user profile. I guess we'll see a little bit later if this works or not. And here we should have two keys. It's fairly slow right now. It probably also has to do with the fact that I'm streaming, and of course that's probably a lot of network bandwidth going on there. Here we have the foreign key for the user profiles, user ID, which is correct. I guess, I don't know, it seems to look decent, at least for now. For what we need, this seems to be really decent. So I guess that with this one, we mostly have implemented this concept that we had in this issue. So we have user, we have user profile, course, we will look in the future to add more properties to the user profile based on what we actually need. But right now, I'm thinking that one thing that I'm sure that we will need for the user profile is that we would need to have a collection of the short URLs that it created. Public. So this would be a one-to-many relationship. I call collection of short URLs. Let's call this rings. The idea is that to fully qualify the one-to-many relationship, we should go here on the short URL and actually add some more things. Like we would need to add public int user profile ID get set and public int user profile. It's not an int. Oh my god, I guess I'm too tired right now. Okay, so it's a get, and of course we also need a setter for this, and we need to close this curly brace, which we did, so we should be good to go. So right now, if I'm doing the migration, one thing that I would like to be very careful is that the short URL does not necessarily need to have the user ID that it created it. So this type of relationship should be nullable. And also, if I delete a user, I don't want to delete all the short URLs, because those short URLs should still be or should still work. Even if the user deletes his or her profile, then if somebody else, I don't know, clicks a link that that specific user shortened at a certain point, that link should still work. So I don't want to delete all the short URLs when a user gets deleted. So let's add a new migration and check how Entity Framework would interpret what I have done here. So add migration, be add user profile short URLs. Okay, so let me see. Build started. And I get an error. Unable to determine the relationship represented by navigation property short URL user profile. Either manually configure the relationship or ignore this property using not mapped attribute or using entity type builder ignore. Okay, but I don't want to ignore that. By navigation property short URL user profile. Okay. But why aren't you able to determine this? Because it's actually... Let me go to user profile. Okay. Okay. So the problem is that we actually don't have an ID for this user profile. And since it is a dependent entity, it actually has the primary key set based on the user. And that's actually very, very bad. That's bad in all the ways that we can think of. So yeah. if we just add here a public int user profile ID, because this is actually why we got that error message, but we had this user profile ID. Okay, so now I see that we actually had this, but this is actually not used as a primary key. So the problem is, let me go here, because we can add here as a key, and it would be user profile, and it would be the user profile ID. Okay, what is your problem here? Owns one. Is key. Okay, so they say that I have to use a key builder, but why? Not contain definition for to table. Okay. Okay. Guess we should use this has key here. User profile. But in this case, yeah, let's see how, if the migration goes through, let's see what we'll end up having here. Okay, it doesn't go through. Still doesn't recognize the relationship. They don't understand why. We have the user profile. The user profile has this, I don't know, did I maybe do a typo here? Did I do a type? I don't know. Let's try again. I guess it would be the same most probably. Yeah. The relationship between beneficiation property short URL user profile of type user profile. Okay. But why can't you do that? Because this is the standard way that you should create a one-to-many relationship. In this case, we want to have a one-to-many relationship between this user profile and the short URL. And it's clear that one user profile has several or many short URLs. We have to define an I collection here. And on the short URL, we would have to fully define this by, having this here. The question is, do we really need this navigation property? Because when I'm looking at a short URL, do I really want to see also the user profile that created that short URL? I don't know, probably. Hello, Mark. Yeah, we're kind of a little bit stuck here in this whole relationship thingy. because we have a one-to-one relationship between user and user profile. But I guess that since user profile is a dependent entity, we cannot create a one-to-many relationship between user profile and short URL. Yeah, I guess that's the whole problem here. So, and I don't think I'll be able to solve it now, because I guess I have to rethink a little bit how I want to design this whole idea of user and user profiles. And yeah, that's going to take a little bit of thought, because then one option that we could have, I guess, is that we should have user and user profile as totally separate entities, and then user profile should be entity on itself. So let's try to do it this way. Or let me try something else. I don't know, maybe it's that I have specified in the on model creating part what my key should be for this entity. But I guess that the main reason that we have this problem is that user profile right now is a dependent entity, and well, yeah, that has a problem. Build succeeded, yeah, and of course we get the exact same error message. Okay, so one other thing that I'm thinking right now is, let's not have this user and user profile. We don't want them to actually be dependent entities at all. So we have the user, and the user will have the ID of the user profile. So we'll get also the user profile for that, and in the user profile we'll just have the GUID of the user, and also try to get the user. I guess we tried this before, and I guess that would totally break up the migration. Now I assume that the error would be different. Okay, no, it is not. So what happens here right now? Okay, draw primary key. We changed the column of user profile ID in the user profiles, and it was nullable is false. Old CLR type is of type int. Old type is type int. Annotation SQL Server identity. Okay, then we add the column to the user profile ID, which in the short URLs, yeah, okay. Nullable. That's actually not true, because it should be nullable actually. It should be nullable because I want to have short URLs that actually don't belong to a certain user profile. So yeah, then we add the primary key on the table user profiles it's the primary key. Then we create an index, and we add the foreign key constraint in the short URL. Okay, and we have here this referential action cascade, which means that when I will delete a user profile, all the associated short URLs will be deleted, which is not something that I really want to have here. So let's remove this migration, and let's think it through again. Let's think it through again. So the migration was removed. Let's start from this user idea. So we have user, and we actually don't want have any user profile on the user. The user should only contain this type of information for the user, and that should be it. So nothing more than that. Then we have the user profile, and for the user profile I want to have also the user, so that I can get the information from the user, like the phone number, email address, username, password if needed, and things like that. So on the user profile I would like to keep that. Then we would have here in the user profile an I collection of short URL, and in the short URL, actually I guess that if I remove this, then it would be as I expect. This foreign key will be nullable, and the referential action won't be cascade, but it I don't know exactly what it would be, but probably it would leave it be. So let's add creation and user profile URLs, and let's start again. Okay, let's see. Of course, we drop the primary key of user profiles. Okay, we alter the column user profile ID in the table user profiles. Nullable is false. Okay, all CLR type is type of int, alt type int. But what should be the new type? I guess it should be the same. Then we add a column of user profile ID in short URLs, which is okay. And nullable true. Exactly, that's what I actually need here. This can be null. If I'm still on the home page, not logged in, I still want to be able to shorten URLs. And then this should be nullable. Okay, then we have this add primary key. So in in the table user profiles, the column user profile ID should be a primary key, which is correct. Then we can create an index for that. We create an index for user profiles, and here add foreign key referential action restrict. And this say that don't perform the action if it would result in a constraint violation and instead generate an error. But this shouldn't result in a constraint violation. And here the referential action. So if I delete the user profile, what do I want to happen with all the short URLs for the user profiles? I don't want them to actually be deleted, but I want to set them null. So in that case, all those short URLs will still remain there, but the only thing that would change is that the foreign key to the user profile, it would be set to null. And this is why it's important that this is here is nullable, so we can set it to null. So I guess that this type of migration, I guess that's what I actually need here right now. So let's update the database again. Okay. Hopefully the database gets updated successfully, because I don't have any type of data. Change the identity property of a column. The column needs to be dropped and recreated. Okay, but that should be handled by Entity Framework Core. So why do I have this problem? Change the identity property of a column. The column needs to be dropped and recreated. It makes Entity Framework Core migrations. Generate. Okay, but where did that actually happen? On which column? Generate. Okay, generate up SQL. Unfortunately, they don't tell me exactly what column should be dropped, and it is not dropped actually. Yeah, let's search for this. change the property of a column. Okay, this is 2019. Okay, so it's EF core 2.1. I have 3.1, but that shouldn't be too much. This is a customer. This is a bank account. Okay. Okay, but real estate having ID and customer ID both is overhead one-to-one relation. I can update my bank account model definition as below. So it has an ID, but it doesn't have the customer. Okay. Then with one bank account has foreign key bank account. Okay, while running up the database, I'm getting this. Okay, let me see. I ran into the same problem. Drop the identity column, comment the ID in bank account, and then add a new one. Add a new identity. That's a very strange one. That doesn't really help a lot. There is generated code for account. Add a new column with a temporary name. Drop the original column, rename the new column using the original column name. Yeah, but it's let me go here. Let's remove this last migration. Okay, and let's see what's our migrations right now. So we have this this is actually migration builder. This is where they created a table. Let's remove this also. And let's update the database. Been applied to database, revert it and try again. Migration has been applied to other databases. Consider reverting its changes using a new migration. Oh my god, I should revert all the changes right now. That's not really what I would like to have. Add on request types, that's actually what we did for the users. I guess I'll have to investigate a little bit more in depth what should happen right now. Yeah, so I guess that's mostly it for today, because I still have to look a little bit deeper into this issue that we have right now, and I'm not sure exactly what to do, because this is also the database that is used by the application right now. Of course, the good thing is that we don't have any real data in these tables that we created today. So yeah, I guess I'll take a look into how things would work. But yeah, I have an idea. I still have an idea though. If I open SQL Server Management Studio, because it might be easier to follow it there. My idea is that I can simply delete the tables, forward user and user profile, and then I can delete from the table EF migration history the last two migrations that were actually done, And in that case, I should be able to add this new migration right now, and it should actually work fine, I guess. So let me try this. Let me delete the table. So what table should we delete? We should delete the table users. Let's see. Don't we have... Okay, I guess we don't have this delete, but we can say here, why don't I have, or I have a new query on this database, or new query. So what's the SQL query for that? Drop a table, how is it called? DBO users. Okay, let's execute that. Okay, could not drop object DBO users because it is referenced by a foreign key constraint. Okay, let's user profiles. It's exactly the same thing. So we should drop the constraints first. So what constraints do we actually have here? So on this user profile, we don't have any constraint. And here, constraints. Why are constraints empty? Why are constraints empty? Okay. I can maybe delete this. I can delete this. Let's see, does it work? Okay. So I have deleted this constraint. So in this case, can I execute now? No. Can't drop the table deep user profiles because it does not exist, or you do not have permissions. Okay. Yeah, because it's a wrong name here. User profiles, of course. So this table was dropped right now. If we click refresh here, that table should be gone. Okay, so no user profiles anymore. And then we can also drop this table users. Okay, so right now all tables are dropped. Let's refresh. And then in this EF migration history, here we can go simply with edit top 200 rows. And here we can then look for the migrations. It's the migration ID. Okay. So what migrations do we actually want to delete? We want to add user profile and add owned request type. No, this is from well, some days back. So this is actually the one that we want to delete. Yes. Okay, so that one was deleted. So this was right now a real troubleshooting for. So this migration should be also should be removed right now. Remove migration. Done. So and now the last migration that we have here is this add own request types, which is something that we worked on a few days ago. So this migration is something that we would like to keep. Then our data model is still the same after all the changes. So let's add migration, add user and profiles. And let's see what our migration will do. In this case, it should basically recreate the entire things that we defined earlier. Okay, so it will add the column user profile ID to short URLs, which is okay. And nullable it is true, which is okay. That's what we want. Then it creates the table users. It has the user ID, username, password, email, phone number, and so on with the primary key. It creates the table user profiles, which has the user profile ID. It has a user ID, and that's the reference actually to the user that it actually belongs. Then we have here a primary key, and then we have this foreign key to the principal table users and to the user ID. And here it says that the referential action should be cascade. And in this case, we said that it is correct because when we delete a user, we want also to delete the user profile. And then we create some indexes, and here at the end we add a foreign key to the user profile ID in the short URLs. The column is the user profile ID. From the principal table user profiles user profile ID, and here the referential action I want to set it to null. So I guess that that should do it. So let's update the database. And I guess that the database should be updated right now, unless there's some other error. But no, it says that it is done. So let's then do a refresh here. And here after the refresh, we should actually have all the things here. We have these users, which is correct. And here, well, the columns for the users, I guess that's user ID, which is the primary key, that's okay. User profiles. Here, if we look at the columns, we should have this user ID, which is a foreign key to the user, and it's not null, so it is okay. So this should be fine. And then in the short URLs, we have columns, and here we should have a new one, which should be the one to the user profile ID, which is of type int, and it can be null, which should be correct. And if we open the short URLs, let's just select the top 1000 rows. We see that this user profile ID is null, of course, to all the requests that we have right now, because they are not associated to a user profile at all. So that is actually very, very good. I guess that's exactly what we need. So right now, I guess it's looking decent. At least taking into consideration what we want to achieve here. So I would be happy with this right now. Okay. So yeah, I guess that's the whole point of this story right now. On the readme data context, once again, we have a DB set for users, and we have a DB set for user profiles, which is correct, exactly what we need. And yeah, I guess that's exactly what we need right now. Let's go to the user profile ID. It has a navigation property to the user, which is exactly what we need. So yeah, I guess that this issue is done. So let's close it. And of course, the next one that we would implement is, I guess, that newest one. Let's close this issue. Let's close this issue and go back to issues. I guess update redirection algorithm is not something that we want to do right now. But implement sign up and login page is something that we would have to do probably very soon. Implement login with social providers, I don't think that we'll implement in the near future. Implement customize front end for logged in users, that's something that we will also have to think about. Implement sign up page, implement counter for registered users. I guess yeah, I guess that's something that we will have to do. I guess this is this counter here, which right now is of course on 0. It's hard coded, but yeah, even if we If we do that, it should be still 0 right now because we don't have any user. So what we can do before we simply wrap it up, I will go and publish this, because we have done some changes also to the front end. Not really a lot of changes, but still we have done. So we can click on publish, and hopefully this will get published correctly to our Azure web app, and then all the most recent changes should also be on the live web application right now. Let's see. Hopefully everything will run okay. It should automatically open a browser and navigate to the web app on Azure, but we'll see exactly if that will happen. I assume it should happen. So yeah. Okay. Probably right now, because the application on Azure is still starting, probably it will get something like, I don't know, not found or similar. Oh no, it's just, and it looks, it's that refresh, but that refresh is coming probably from the, but it's totally bad because yeah, I guess we'll take out the preloader right now because the data is already there and we just have it. But you know what we can do, I guess, before we, let's do the following thing. Let's do the following, but I guess that would keep everything mostly the same. I was thinking if we go to this index page here, where is it? The home, this is. So if we go to this one here, and if we set this by default to true, then we would have to set it to false here again, of course, and then set it to true. I don't know, let's see if it would make any change in behavior. But probably it will still display for a short time the preloader is loaded equals false. And let's run this application locally and to see if we have a change in behavior. But I think that behavior will be most likely the same, because it will get all the data, it will be displayed on the screen. Then when we set it to false, it will briefly display the, yeah, it's exactly what I thought. It's exactly what I was thinking about. But if instead I guess we'll revert back to that one thing. I guess I don't want to have the preloader here anymore. So we'll go back to this one, and then we don't need this property anymore, and we can also do this. And if at a certain point we'll need the preloader, we'll implement it again. But for now, I think that it's doing much more damage than it actually helps out right now. So let's see. Yeah, then the numbers simply change. They go to 0 and they go back to the numbers. But I At least right now the background is loading better, because it's simply a color, and that should be it for now. Okay, I guess it's better like this. Let's publish this again to Azure. Publish. And maybe we'll just try to shorten the URL and make a request for it, just to see that that everything still works. Hopefully everything still works. Okay, of course we just lost the connection to the server for that one. Let's go to ring.me and yeah. Okay, I guess we'll leave it like this. Let's just I don't know, go to this one. Let's just try to ring it. We got the ring back, so let's try to navigate to it, and we're here. So the application is still working. Number of shorten links increased, which happens automatically. And of course, if we refresh, then also the number of link clicks per day changed to 15 right now. So yeah, that's all I guess for today. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for being here. It was a really pleasant time to code a little bit. And yeah, just stay safe and take care. And yeah, let's meet very soon again here on this channel to further develop this URL shortening service to a real useful app that everybody could use if needed. So once again, thank you very much for being here, and I wish you a very pleasant and good night or day or morning, depending on where you are watching from. So bye.